One of the best but also the most frustrating thing about FNAF is the community. They at times help support one another and can bond over a shared love for the series, but other times, most of the time, they can get very upset and defend a point to death despite it already being disproven. However, while they can be stubborn, one thing I think we can all agree on is that they're talented. They draw, they create, they make their own animatronics in their own games, and the scariest ones are what we're exploring today. That's right, we're back for a fan animatronics list, people! Let's do it. Also, go sub to Minecraft Nightmare if you haven't. I can tell that some of you have still yet to do it, okay? So, go. Link is in the description. And it's at Garry, a psychopathic, cold-blooded killer. He stopped being human long ago. That's how Garry is described in the extras of Dormitibus, the game from which he hails. Garry is the penultimate antagonist to Dormitibus, and as a human, he was a man who murdered the missing children, and later went on to get trapped in Spring Bonnie, becoming Springtrap, and was burnt to a permanent death in the Fazbear Fright's fire. If only the real Afton could have taken that same route. Garry is a more gory version of Springtrap from FNAF 3. However, it is not William Afton, as this game was released before that name reveal, even before FNAF 4. Springtrap, but with hardly any exosuit or animatronic casing, whatever you want to call it. Garry crawls on all fours and uses his left hand as a foot and his left foot as a hand, like some form of demon monkey from hell that Satan didn't sanction the creation of. Just look at this thing and tell me that it shouldn't be on this list, okay? If you do, you'll actually be lying, and that will make Garry just want you more. That's a face that not even furries could simp for. Come on. And at 9, Shadow Spring Bonnie. Shadow Spring Bonnie is one of the two primary antagonists of Final Nights 2. He's also one of the final animatronics in the game. Shadow Spring Bonnie resembles Springtrap, as to be expected when mentioning Springlock suits. Similar to Springtrap, he lacks the suit on his right feet and has the majority of his right ear missing. Overall, he has rips, but he's not really missing any limbs or parts overall, which is a stark contrast to the burnt animatronics from the first 4 nights of the game. His face glows white, which is noticeable when he is in the hallway, but it also gives him a more sinister appearance, and pushes the something supernatural idea that most Shadow animatronics have, like Shadow Bonnie from FNAF AR. Shadow Spring Bonnie takes the role of Burnt Freddy and Burnt Foxy on night 5, and is very fast, so the player must seal the vent quickly or else they'll get jump scared. He may also appear in the hallway, but if he does, never use your flashlight or you will get insta-killed, and you should inspect his face when he appears there. If he's twitching, close the door. A rattling sound will let you know when he's left. The fact that you actually need to look at his face to see if you're in danger is horrifying, especially when most of what you need to do in this game relies on fast reflexes, you having to sit there and process something, especially for me, who processes something at the speed of a snail. That's gonna be rough. And at 8, Scrap Nightmare Bonnie. What's that? 2 Bonnie animatronics in a row on a list that's not about Bonnie? Yes, you heard it, but mostly because I was scrolling through Google and these are the 2 that caught my eye first. Bonnie, the scariest animatronic to some, even Scott Cawthon, who would have nightmares about him. This is probably why you didn't end up getting a Scrap animatronic. Yet here we are with the fanbase once again showcasing that their only desire is to watch the world burn and laugh while we all go up in flames. And while fans have also made a normal Scrap Bonnie, making you a nightmare as well is the fly trap icing on top of the shit cake. The concept of the nightmare animatronics is certainly freaky, but the fact that they aren't real kind of soothes me, you know? Sure, none of these animatronics are real, but in the context of their universe, the nightmare animatronics aren't real and can't actually hurt you. But with the implication of the scrapped nature of this version, it also seems to suggest that they are real, and that makes it freakier. But also the potential that the arm at the end of the security breach trailer, the first one that was never referenced again, by the way, Steel Wool, well, it wasn't referenced in the trailers again, it was just the one arm, and then we find out that it's Afton. It kind of looks like Nightmare Freddy, and that only adds to the idea that these animatronics could potentially be real at some point soon. But I know that's not actually a thing, and if the nightmare animatronics for some reason end up coming into our world, I'm done with FNAF. Honestly. At least it's more likely to be Glamrock Bonnie's arm, but still. And at 7, Am I Real? Am I Real, also known as Cakebear, is presumably the primary and most recurring antagonist in Dormitibus. Am I Real has 2 different forms. His first form is Cakebear. Cakebear's design originated from the Save Him minigame in FNAF 2, where he delivered cake to children while a child is killed outside. He is also the predecessor to both Fredbear and Freddy Fazbear. Cakebear is a brown bear animatronic that also acts as a Springlock suit that appears in most of the main nights. Although they look slightly similar, the only similarities that he really has to Freddy Fazbear is that they both possess a top hat. They're also brown, have blue eyes, and are a bear. That's it. And my real second form is a form that resembles Springtrap. This form has a green color much like Springtrap and contains human remains. His right eye socket has gotten bigger on the side and a big hole can be seen on the right side of his head. His top hat has received some withering on it as well. His lower jaw is slanted and worn down, no longer circular like Cakebear's, and he has a sizable hole in the right side of his torso as well, revealing organs. Yep, that's right, that's the kind of game this is. Rips and tears cover his arms, revealing more and more human remains, and he appears to be missing at least one finger on his right hand for whatever reason, and is absolutely just terrifying to look at. And of course, 4 out of 10 of these are going to be from Dormitibus, okay? Did you watch the whole Dormitibus animatronics lists from a while ago? Those are nuts, okay? And at 6, Fredtrap. To be honest, I searched this up just for the hell of it, and there are actually Fredbear versions of Springtrap, and honestly, I don't know why I didn't think that there would be. Fredtrap is exactly what you'd expect. Springtrap's look on a yellow Freddy animatronic. The designs are actually really well made, and honestly are scarier than normal Springtrap to me. For some reason, I guess I just think bears are scarier than bunnies. I think that Scott made William use the Spring Bonnie suit because of how scared Scott was of Bonnie, but like, that's just idle speculation. It's not actually true, so it's just personal headcanon, you know? There are also even more rundown versions and even scrap versions of Fredtrap, which are already haunting when you don't think about the fact that it would still be William inside the suit being kept alive by the spirit of his dead son. Fredtrap is definitely one of the more strangely unique versions of any animatronic I've seen on this list, but like, still, it's pretty damn impressive. You gotta admit, this is pretty cool. Halfway through into number 5, Slasher Fredbear. Slasher Fredbear by DeviantArt user PlayStation Jedi is an unholy abomination that must be stopped. I've talked about the Slasher animatronics before, particularly in the Bonnie animatronic versions list. However, Slasher Fredbear is so much worse. He may not have a shotgun axe guitar, but oh my god. Let me read the description of this animatronic in the words of PlayStation Jedi himself, so you can see what the creator thinks about him. Quote, the largest and strongest of all the Slasher animatronics, Slasher Fredbear is an unstoppable force with enhanced strength and durability. Fredbear is capable of smashing through walls, withstanding lots of punishment, and grabbing heavy objects and throwing them across the room. While Fredbear uses his great strength to pick up and rip people in half, if he needs a quick kill, he can extend a blade mounted to his wrist and cut through people like butter. Or, if he needs a ranged attack, he can use his 2 wrist-mounted LMG guns. Fredbear can switch between these weapons on the fly, either using 2 LMGs or 2 blades or 1 on each wrist. What the hell? Man, LMG standing for light machine gun. Kelly, by the way. Jesus ever-loving Christ, this will actually make me cry myself to sleep. Not to mention the spikes covering his body or the incredible amount of blood soaking it. And at 4, Golden Call. As a human when alive, Golden Call's name was Kyle. However, now he is a Springlock victim stuck inside a Golden Freddy Springlock suit. Golden Call has a typical rundown Springlock suit vibe, similar to Springtrap. However, this time it's even more gruesome. His left ear is bent, he has bugs coming out of basically every hole in his body, human eyes are hanging out of the animatronic's eye sockets, he is missing exosuit on his right foot, and the character is holding a flesh-colored, at least flesh-colored, it might even be flesh-made phone in his right hand that stays stuck to his head via more flesh and blood strands connecting to the side of his head. Yeah. Dude, this is horrifying. This is a monstrosity. And looking at his age on the wiki, Kyle was only 5 years old when he got Springlock, which is absolutely nuts and just like flat out horrible. It's so unfortunate. He was supposed to be the next best Fortnite player. He killed Ninja and Tfue. That's a joke for you long-term subs right there. Although, if you stuck around after those videos, I'd be surprised. Getting close to the end, and at number 3, Reaper Spring Bonnie. Reaper Spring Bonnie is absolutely terrifying, okay? This Reaper variant appears in Final Nights 3 and 4 and is an absolute monstrosity, but is definitely more terrifying in Final Nights 4. He is 100% the scariest animatronic in these games. In essence, Reaper Spring Bonnie is a nightmare Springtrap. He has sharp teeth and a very damaged and withered body. His suit is dark yellow in color, he sports a big purple bow tie on his upper chest, and like other Reaper animatronics, Reaper Spring Bonnie has 1 pair of hollow, dark, cold eyes. In Final Nights 4, however, his appearance is more disfigured and gruesome, with sharper claws, sharper teeth, a different jaw, growths on his shoulder pads resembling fungi, and a gooier appearance overall, I should say. He is also missing half of his right ear, similar to Springtrap from FNAF 3, and his suit is more greenish in color, also like Springtrap. But oh my god, okay, this thing is way way more terrifying than Springtrap. This dude is 100% like just nightmare fuel. Can ultimately end at number 2, Reaper Puppet. If you didn't know, the Reaper Puppet was the first fan animatronic ever featured on this channel in the top 10 scary FNAF animatronics list around like a year ago, 2 years ago, something like that. The first FNAF video by me on this channel, by the way, was from January 29th, 2020. Can you believe that? It's actually been over 2 years. And the video I'm talking about came out about a month later on February 24th, 2020. So yeah, it's been over 2 years. So I have a long history with this character. The Reaper Puppet, along with Shadow Bonnie and the brother from Final Nights 1, are the only animatronics in the entire Final Nights series to start off a night outside. Reaper Puppet also appears to be a counterpart to the original series Puppet, though it is only the Reaper Puppet's head that is similar to the core series. The rest of its body is a dark shade of black. It has long stretching arms and sharp fingers at the hands like the Grim Reaper, and Reaper Puppet has multiple tentacle-like legs, which kinda gives me PTSD because of the blob. Reaper Puppet can easily be mistaken for a tree as its legs look like roots and its shoulders look like branches, but the thing is so creepy that I included it on a list that shouldn't have had fan animatronics on it, okay? But I was incredibly creeped out and I felt compelled to make it a thing, mostly because I wanted to use it for the thumbnail, okay? Like how kids in Fazbear Frights are drawn to the restaurants, I'm drawn to the Reaper Puppet. And finally, in at number 1, Actual Nightmares. From a series of Reddit posts from a now deleted user called FNAF 4, but it's actually something you would see in a nightmare, these horrific half-wits are exactly what I would genuinely expect to see in a nightmare. Like, why would you do that to poor mommy Chica? This was the thumbnail image I used for the iconic Scary FNAF Creepypastas video on Top 10 Gaming Elite, the 8th video released on that channel at this point, and I think it's still the most popular video on that channel. But it really makes me wonder why I didn't use that in a video at any point before this. Like, this is the first time I'm actually talking about these characters, which is kind of absolutely crazy. And I used Freddy for the scariest fan animatronics you will ever see video, which only made me want to talk about it more. Actually, I'm pretty sure I've used all 3 in thumbnails before. I used Bonnie for like a Bonnie Theories video as well, like damn. For some reason, the author didn't want to or didn't end up making a Nightmare Fredbear or Foxy in these styles, so I guess that this was probably enough for them. And honestly, I think it was enough for the internet because I'm like, damn, okay, these things are hella creepy. Even worse than the Reaper or Havoc Puppet. That's right, I said it. Havoc Puppet wasn't even on this list, but still. That's all the time we have for today, friends. Thank you all so much for watching. I have been in Shower Mate Monroe, and I'll see you in another video.